This is the Franchi Affinity 3 and the Winchester SX4. And today we have a shotgun showdown between these two guns, just over $1,000. This is gonna be an epic battle. We're gonna see which one rises to the top, and if I could only choose one, which one would it be? Ready? Let's go. Okay, so a lot of you viewers have been asking for this. It's a Franchi Affinity 3 versus the Winchester SX4. If you've been watching the channel, you know I do have a bias towards the SX4. I've shot tens, hundreds of thousands of rounds for this gun, but I've also really grown to like the Franchi Affinity 3. Normally when I do a shotgun showdown, I go through the different aspects of the guns, and then I say what I like, what I don't like, and at the end of the video, I just pick a gun based on my gut, my opinion, right? We're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna use what's called the SOSA test. This is proprietary that we've created. SOSA stands for Steve's Official Shotgun Assessment to Effectively Save Time. There's 5 different categories worth up to 10 points each. So I'm gonna be awarding points as we go. Now, right from the get-go, there's handicaps. Price is the handicap. Any gun less than $500 has no handicap, then $500 to $750 has 1 handicap, $750 to $1,000 has a -2. So on and so forth. Guns with higher price have to live up to a higher standard. That's part of what makes the SOSA test so exciting. $1249 MSRP, so it's just under that $250 mark. This shotgun is $1149, so they both have a -3 handicap. We're on equal playing field right from the get-go. Taking a look at these guns just quickly at specs. They are both 12 gauges. This is inertia operated, the Affinity 3, 12 gauge gas operated. So that's gonna come into recoil. There should be different effects in recoil and potentially speed. The Affinity 3 is 6 pounds, 14 ounces. And the Winchester is a little bit heavier at 7 pounds. Only a couple ounces difference. We'll see how that plays in. Lighter guns can be nice, and sometimes they can have more recoil, especially when you add it to an inertia gun that they generally have more recoil to begin with. So diving into the categories, we're gonna start putting points to each one of these guns. So the first one is just purely looks. We're not diving in deep. We're just judging on appearance. This is important to me. I think it's important to a lot of people. Which gun right off the bat just looks better? Well, take a gander. Feast your eyes. This Affinity 3 jumps out at me. It has a little shimmer in the paint. It just pops a little bit more. I am a little bit more gravitated to this, but they're both really good looking guns in my opinion. When it comes to looks, I'm giving the Affinity 3 a 9 and the Winchester SX4 an 8. Okay, let's get away from those surface level looks. Let's start digging in a little bit deeper. I like to look at recoil. This is a big thing, how a gun feels. Recoil, not just recoil, but recoil and reliability. We're gonna see how these guns cycle, how they operate, how they kick. We'll do this side by side, see what the difference in feel here is. That feels pretty good, but they're just light target loads. Slightly less recoil, definitely with the Winchester SX4. Not a huge difference with these target loads, but you know what? I know y'all like to hunt. 1.25 ounces, 1,450 feet per second, Federal, speed shock. Let's just pop a few rounds here. Ooh, considerably more all of a sudden with that SX4. Considerably more with the Affinity 3. On the recoil side, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, but let's keep shooting a little bit more. Pretty sure the SX4 has got the edge on this one. Let's grab some Federal True Ball slugs in each of these guns. Didn't even hit my target. So actually, I didn't notice much difference. That's interesting on those slugs. We know where we're at as far as recoil. Reliability. How well do these 3-inch guns cycle in different positions? This is looking at how finicky the gun is on cycling. So if I took the SX4 from the hip, okay, no problem there. Affinity 3, no problem there. And they shoot fast. From my experience, both of these guns are super reliable. This might be a toss-up. One little test I like to try out. Over the head. Anticipated the same, no problem. One last test to see if one gun's a little more finicky than the other. We're taking these 12 gauge shotguns, turning them into handguns. So whether it's gas or inertia, they both sort of need something hard to come against to operate. So one-handed, they shouldn't operate quite as well. Whoa, that one's got more recoil. I felt that in my wrist. You notice it did not cycle. but it did there. Let me try that one more time. That could have been Steve Air. Woo. Okay, reliability, I'm gonna put these neck and neck. As far as recoil, the SX4 does have a slight edge, and when you shoot one-handed, you will definitely know that to be true. I know, you don't shoot one-handed, I get it. You shoot from the shoulder, even from the shoulder, I could tell the perceived recoil, felt recoil was less on the SX4. The SX4 is probably one of the lightest shooting shotguns I've ever shot. I'm going a 9 on the SX4 and an 8.5 on the Affinity 3, just slightly less. What would it take to be a 10? I don't know, I'll tell you when I get there. 9 on the SX4, 8.5 on the Affinity 3. Next thing we're taking a look at is the ergonomics. That's the look, the feel, the function of the gun. I can tell you this Affinity 3 feels great in my hands. I like the balance, mounted up, I'm right there. This gun fits well. Oversized bolt release, oversized bolt handle. Safety is a crossbolt safety on the backside. I don't like this little round safety on this gun nearly as much as I like this bigger rectangular square safety here. Much easier to get to. The Affinity 3 is drilled and tapped, a little more versatility if you wanted to put an optic on, go turkey hunting. SX4, not so much, not drilled and tapped. That's kind of a knock there. When it comes to the loading ports, I definitely find it easier to get shells into the Affinity 3, easier to get into and access. SX4, a little bit more of a challenge. When it comes to trigger, that's hard to say. I like the trigger of that Affinity. Check out these trigger guards. I think the SX4 is slightly bigger. I like that about the SX4. They both have stepped up ribs. That works better for me as a long neck shooter. The SX4 has this nice inflex recoil pad that could be switched out for like a Falcon Strike or aftermarket recoil pad. The Affinity 3 is a little bit more proprietary. All things considered though, looking at the ergonomics, the feel, the function, oh, that's nice. That feels good. I'm just so used to this gun. I don't want to give it extra points because I'm used to it. This gun's lighter, moves a little easier. Slight edge overall to the Affinity 3. This loading port's a huge deal for me. Otherwise, these guns are both really good. This feels almost a little better in the hands. Shot hundreds of thousands of rounds. This is almost second nature, but just picking this up, it feels really good in the hands. I'm going to 9 on the Affinity 3, 8.5 on the SX4. So we're kind of neck and neck up to this point. Just a couple categories left. Breakdown is the next one. I'm pretty sure I know who's gonna win this one. I don't know what the score is gonna be, but let's break it down. Here we go. Like I mentioned, this is a gas gun. You're gonna notice it has a few more components. So the barrel and forearm come off. We have a gas piston, we have the sleeve, and we have a spring. Still pretty easy. Bolt comes out, pop these 2 pins out, 2 pins out. There we go. That's the SX4, ready for a thorough cleaning, which by the way, you can see the carbon on this piston. This gets quite dirty, as does the magazine tube where this piston rides on. You can see the carbon buildup there. A little bit more maintenance. That's part of what I'm looking at here in the breakdown as well. The Affinity 3, pretty simple. There we go. We do have this spring on front with the action bars that come back, and that's what the bolt rides on. Take off the charging handle. This comes off. And the one thing cool about this Franchi and a lot of inertia guns, 1 pin on the trigger assembly out. There is the Franchi. Few less moving pieces. The bolt is simpler. Rotating bolt head, one piece bolt. The SX4 is a 2-piece bolt. There you have it. Let's throw them back together. When it comes to breakdown, ease of cleaning, ease of maintenance, right here, this is where it's at. These inertia guns are so simple. Now, I've given some inertia guns a 9. I've given some a 10, like the Super Black Eagle 3, I gave a 10 because the receiver comes apart without taking the trigger group out. Easier to access. I've given like the M2, I believe, a 9. The M2 doesn't have the spring assembly here to mess with. So because of that, I'm gonna give this an 8.5, and I'm gonna give the SX4 an 8. Actually, we're gonna go 7.5. There's a point difference between these two. There has to be 8.5, 7.5. Moving on to shooting vibes. For shooting vibes, I'm just gonna start by shooting some off the machine. I'm just pulling it all together here. I'll tell you one thing, this is one of the fastest guns, the SX4 that is, that I've ever shot. I shot 3 hand-thrown clays in 1.05. That's a pretty fast speed, where the Franchi Affinity 3, when I tested that last year, I shot a 1.27. I'm gonna try it with this gun, see how fast I can shoot the Affinity 3. Let's just do a few off the machine. Ooh, that's natural. Feels pretty second nature to me, for the most part. Can easily mount up, take the shots. Okay, that's that. I know I can shoot that gun relatively well. Let's see about the Affinity 3. Ooh, crushing it. Yes, sir. Vibes are high right now. Definitely high. Ooh, yes. Oh, wow. Boom! 6 out of 6. Speed shooting, this is gonna be important to me. I'm pulling it all together here. Let's put the Franchi Affinity 3 on the clock. Whoa! Did I cheat, Jordan? That was close. We're gonna have to review the footage. 1.05. Took me 0.69 to get on it, 0.18 and 0.18 splits.
Can I see it again?
105. We wanna review that? With a split of a 0.18 and a 0.18. 1800ths of a second split. That was pretty darn good. I might have been just a couple hundredths of a second early. We're gonna try to get this legit. Oh, how did I miss that last one? 1.04 if I would've got it. Woo! Boy, I missed that one. Yes, Jordan?
0.94.
0.93, 16/100ths of a second. Took me 0.61 to get on it. I gotta do it. Bear with me. Sorry, Jordan, I know you got weekend plans, but there it is. I had to work for it. I was shooting smoking fast some of those shots. 9.4. Is that my fastest time ever? I really timed it well. I had a 0.58 to get on the first one. I had a 0.15 split and a 0.21 split. We gotta wrap this video up. I gotta award points to these guns. I never thought I would say this. Like, I thought these would be pretty close to equal, but I'm slightly edging out the SX4 with shooting vibes on the Affinity 3. Being able to shoot that fast on a gun that I don't have nearly as much experience with as the SX4. I was liking the trigger. I was liking the mount. Recoil was manageable. Vibing hard on this gun right here. I'm actually gonna give shooting vibes a 9 to the Affinity 3 and an 8.5 to the SX4. I know I didn't shoot it as much, but trust me, I got a lot of experience with this gun. I've shot it fast, I shoot it well, I love the gun. So we're coming down to the end. I get to award bonus points. This is a little arbitrary, but when it comes to the Winchester SX4, it's one of the lightest recoiling shotguns I've ever shot. They do a phenomenal job with that. Bonus point for being one of the lightest recoiling semi-auto shotguns out there. Second bonus point is gonna go to this gun just for being a workhorse. Standing up to time hundreds of thousands of rounds, traveling with me to shows. I know this is a little bit personal, but traveling with me to shows, trick shot videos, helping make my career, the Winchester SX4. So 2 bonus points total. Looking at the Franchi Affinity 3, overall, phenomenal gun. This loading port, right out of the box, love it. Bonus point for that. So when we go to grand tally, take these scores into account, subtract the handicaps, and add the bonus points. The Winchester SX4 comes out at 40.5 points. 40.5 points for this Winchester SX4. That's a high score. That is a really good score. Price to quality, phenomenal gun. Then we have the Franchi Affinity 3, tallying up the score, crunch the numbers, and I came up with a 42. 42 on this gun, highest score I've given out to date, making the Franchi Affinity 3 the winner of this shotgun showdown. It had the highest score, and I have to pick it. I shoot it extremely well. It runs neck and neck in a lot of ways to the Winchester, has a few slight edges, phenomenal gun. This could be one of my new favorite semi-auto shotguns, period. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you see, get value out of the content, make sure you check the links in the description. Support the companies and the brands that I get the opportunity to work with. And remember, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only gonna hit those shots that you're laser focused on. So live, target focused. See ya!